Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender regime boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's going on? Had to chime back in one time, man, and talk about this possible matchup that's been brewing. I've been hearing some talks about Vergil Ortiz versus Maurice Hooker, man. Two DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth guys, two brothers, man, that very, very talented, very, very skilled guys, and very, very familiar with each other, man, as is most of the fighters from this area. Earl Spence Jr., Charles Hatley, Vergil Ortiz, Maurice Hooker, man. And, you know, these guys know each other from the amateurs. They're very familiar with each other, and there's a respect level there and familiarity. So, you know, this will be a very, very interesting fight. You know, you got the element of Vergil Ortiz being an up-and-coming guy, a hot prospect, extremely talented, extremely skilled and gifted, and just a powerful fighter and a very, very exciting fighter to watch. And he's coming up really trying to get big names on his resume to kind of, you know, put his stamp out there and you know, stamp his presence in the game. And you got Maurice Hooker coming up to 147 pounds after, you know, being a champion at 140, losing to Jose Ramirez in Dallas. And, you know, Maurice Hooker really trying to, you know, kind of furthermore make his presence felt, especially at 147 pounds, and kind of stamp his legacy in this division and really just kind of, you know, get back in the groove of things. And he's, you know, now training with Terrence Crawford and Bo Mack. I believe he just recently signed with PBC. As we know, Vergil Ortiz is with Golden Boy Promotions. So, man, this will be a great fight, man. And you got, it's an opportunity for both guys. You got an opportunity for Vergil Ortiz to get a good step up fight versus Maurice Hooker, a guy that's experienced, that's skilled, and that could challenge you and kind of bring some things out of you. And then you got Maurice Hooker, who is facing a very, very hot prospect, very highly touted, somebody that's well respected. And we see, I think that Vergil Ortiz is very, very promising. His future and his career and his potential is very, very promising. So for Maurice Hooker to be able to get a victory over a guy like this would be big. And I think it would be huge for Vergil Ortiz to get a victory over somebody like Maurice Hooker, because it's going to make people take him even more serious. And I think this, if he can beat Maurice Hooker, this elevates him to get bigger and better fights. You know, if he could be somebody like, you know, a former world champion like Maurice Hooker, even though it wasn't at this division, you know, this could get him into an even bigger step up fight, you know, sooner than later. So this is a great matchup, man. You got Maurice Hooker, who can box. He has the length, you know, has a very, very long arm reach, extremely long arm reach for his body size. And that could be a huge advantage for him versus any fighter. The only thing with Maurice Hooker, he don't necessarily fight from the outside. He don't necessarily fight tall. He likes to mix it up and bang on the inside, which could be a detriment to him versus somebody like Vergil Ortiz, who is a ferocious puncher to the head and to the body with speed and power. Very, very skilled, very, very tactical and explosive. And that could be a detriment to Maurice Hooker. You got Vergil Ortiz, as I stated, you know, very, very skilled all the way around. As far as his body, he got a nice size for 147. I believe that Vergil Ortiz will be fighting at 154 for most of his career. But I really like his stature for the 147-pound division. I think he has a really nice size for this division. And stylistically, this matchup makes for fireworks. It makes for excitement. It makes for knockdowns and knockouts and big punches landed and tactical aggression and, you know, combinations and just a whole lot of shit going on in this fight. I would love to see this fight be made. I would love for it to happen right here in the DFW. You know, maybe Cowboy Stadium. Maybe it's not that big, but maybe the American Airlines Center where Ryan Garcia just fought. You know, the Bond Factor. It's a lot of different venues that where you can have this fight in the DFW. The Star out in Frisco, you know, the Cowboys practice facility. So there's a lot of different venues where you can have this fight. And this is a great fight, man. I think the favorite going into this fight, even though Vergil Ortiz is the prospect coming up, now he's a contender. I don't think we can really call him a prospect no more. He's a contender now. You know, if he beats Maurice Hooker, he's definitely a contender now. But I think Vergil Ortiz is the favorite and should be. When you just look at the stylistic matchup, even though Vergil Ortiz really haven't beat anybody, you could look at Maurice Hooker and say he really ain't beat nobody either. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is an even matchup, but I'm leaning towards Vergil Ortiz just stylistically. When you got a guy like Maurice Hooker who have been stopped before, who does take more punches than you would like him to see him take, and a guy like Vergil Ortiz with an offensive assault and repertoire and arsenal. I mean, that's going to be very, very difficult for Maurice Hooker to overcome. But this is a fantastic fight. I think the fans win in this fight. If they can go ahead and make this happen, this will be lovely. And, you know, I'm ready to get, you know, Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz and these guys up in the contender and championship status, so we can see them mix it up with all of the other, you know, very, very great, very, very good fighters and great fighters and elite fighters at the 147-pound division, and ultimately at 154 and maybe even 160 one day. But I would love to see this fight happen. I don't think it's official yet, but it's been brewing. And, you know, shout out to my boy D from No Excuses podcast. You know, he put me on to this fight, man, and kind of made me privy to them talking about this fight. And I would love to see this happen, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Who do y'all have winning in this fight? How do y'all see this fight playing out? Do you think this is a good step up for Vergil Ortiz? Do you think Maurice Hooker can overcome his flaws and win in a fight that he's stylistically probably going to have a lot of uphill battles in this fight? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.